Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going over Python variables. So variables are basically ways to store information in Python, specifically data values. These can be things like text as a string, integers, floats, which are basically decimals, um, booleans, and lots of other stuff. So we're going to start off by trying to create our own variables. So in order to create a variable, we would need a variable name and whatever data value we need it to be equal to. So we're going to start with our variable being equal to x, or sorry, our variable name being equal to x. And then we'll set that equal to, let's do something like 5 or 6. 5. 5 for now. So when we print out x, we get 5. Pretty simple, right? So variables do not need to be declared with any particular type, and they can change types as as the program continues. So here we initially have x equal to 5. That is an integer. However, we can set x equal to a string, like name. Then when we print out x, it'll be equal to name, like that. So it can always be changing. Um, If you want to set a data type of a variable equal to something special, then we can use this method called casting. So we're going to have three separate variables here, right? A, B, and C. But they're going to be slightly different. So let's take a look. So the first variable, A, that's equal to uh, string 8. But what is that exactly equal to? Well, that's equal to like the string form of 8. So something like A and then equals 8 in double quotes or A equals 8 in single quotes, right? Something like that. With B, we're saying it equal to integer version of 8, which is like the number, right? So it would just be equal to 8. Finally, with C, we're saying it equal to the decimal version of 8, or what we mean by that is like 8.0, right? So it's equal to 8.0, and it's stored as a float or a decimal. So as you can see, with casting, we can change the way our variable, or sorry, our data value is being stored inside of the variable. And if we ever want to check what kind of data type was being stored in our variable, we can use the type function as shown here. If I use type A, it'll be something like string, right? Class str, because we wanted 8 to be in the data type string or str. Similarly, if we did B, it would be class int, and C would be class float. So, by the way, with strings, if I set this name over here, right? You can also use single quotes as well. Um, Single or double quotes, it doesn't really matter. It's just your stylistic preference. And I guess one more other thing, variable names are case sensitive. So here, if we have uh, lowercase x equal to 1 and uppercase x equals to 2, then when we print out x and x, you'll see that they're going to be different values. They're going to be 1 and 2. So this x equals 2, that does not replace the 1 in the previous x. The lowercase x and the uppercase x are two different variables. So yeah, case does matter. Yeah, I guess leading on from that, we can talk about variable naming conventions. So a variable can have a very short name, like X, A, B, or C, as shown here, or it can be very long as well. There's not really like a character limit. It's just really up to you how long you want your variable name to be. But there are some rules for Python variable naming. The first rule is that the variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. So having our variable be equal to A equals 8, that's okay. If we do capital Z equals 8, that's also fine. And if we did underscore equals 8, that's also fine. All three of these are okay. Uh, However, we cannot have a variable name start with a number. So if I did 1RT, that's not going to work. However, we can have numbers inside of our variable, like R1T. It's just that it can't be the first character. So second character or last character or anywhere in between, those are all totally okay, just not the first. And like the number, the letters and the underscore are all available to use for the rest of the variable name. So basically, a variable name can only contain letters, both upper and lowercase, underscore, and the numbers. And the numbers can't appear at the front. And finally, special characters are not allowed. So if I added like an at symbol here, that would be incorrect. And then one more thing, you want to avoid using variable names that are similar to commands in Python, like print equals 8. You'll see that we won't get an error here, but when I try printing out this variable, we do get an error. This is because Python doesn't know to distinguish between the variable name print and the command print. So it's best to just avoid using print or if or type as a variable name whatsoever. So as I've said before, your variable names can be very long or multiple words long. So let's do something like my variable name. Now this can be a bit confusing to read if it's all lowercase, right? So we may choose to capitalize certain letters just to make it more readable. The first method of doing this is camel case. Camel case. So what that does is it's like reverse sentence capitalization, right? So we would lowercase the first letter, or I guess the first word, and then we would capitalize every word after that. So it becomes something like bits. And the reason why it's called camel case is that it's kind of similar to like the humps of on a camel. So like I guess like this would be the head, and then like these would be the two humps, I guess, hence the name camel case. But if you don't like that, there is another option, Pascal case. We just basically capitalize every word like this. And then this is Pascal case. And then finally we got snake case. Like camel case, it's named because it looks like a snake. So my variable name. What we're basically doing is that we are putting underscores instead of spaces between our words. So this is snake case. Uh, if you don't want to follow any of these variable naming conventions, that's totally fine. It's not like these are hard rules or anything. And yeah, it's just like improving your visibility. So up next, we got assigning multiple values to multiple variables. So let's do something like A, B, and C. And then we want to set these equal to fruits that are begin with A, B, and C. Let's do apple, banana, cherry. This is the same as writing out A equals apple, B equals banana, and C equals cherry. But instead of writing it in 3 lines, we just write it in one, like that. Now, if we add a fourth one, like durian, to here, then we would get an error because there are too many values. Similarly, if I had another variable here and then erased this one, we would have not enough values. So the number of values and the number of variables need to be exactly the same. Now, what if I want to apply or set one value equal to multiple variables, well, then we would set them all equal to each other. So like, let's say I want A, B, and C equal to L. I would do something like this. And if we print out all three of these, then we should get, well, apple, apple, apple. Yeah, like that. And if I want to unpack a list, what this means is, let's say I had a list of names, right? And then we're going to go with names that begin with A, B, and C. So we're going to start off with Adam, Bob, I guess, and then Carl or something. So three names. And then if I want A, B, and C equal to Adam, Bob, and Carl respectively, I'll just do A, B, C equals names. That way I save the hassle of writing everything on three lines. So if I print out A, B, and C again, we'll get Adam, Bob, and Carl. Okay, so on that note, we'll move on to outputting variables. If you want to output a variable, you use the print command as we've been using here. But you may have noticed that for the past two ones, I've been using commas. So what do those do? Those just put spaces in between the variable values. So you may notice that like normally apple, banana, and cherry don't have spaces in them. But when we print them out, or well, when we print out apple three times, there are spaces in between. Those are provided by the commas. Same story here. If I did not want the spaces, I could just use the plus function, or rather the plus operator. So this makes it without spaces because it's just basically smushing all the strings together. So we will get something without spaces. If we wanted the spaces, we would have to add the spaces manually, like this. But yeah. Um, if we wanted to use the plus operator, but let's say C was equal to 348 instead. We would get an error because the thing is that you can't add strings which are A and B and integers like 3, 4, 8 together. You can't add data types of different data types together. You can only add strings with strings and integers with integers. So, to avoid this problem, you can just either use the commas, like A, comma, B, comma, C, or you can just convert C to a string by using str348, like that. Either one is fine. And um, after that, we will move to variables. So variables that are global are basically variables that are declared outside of a function. So all of these variables over here are global. So if I had a new function like function one, and then I did print A, B, and C here. Okay, well, first of all, I need to call function. So after that, I call function one. We would get Adam Bob 348, like that. And if I have a variable inside of here, let's do C equals 49. When I run it, you'll notice that it's equal to 49. This is because this C and that C are technically two different C's. So the C in here is the global C. However, since we declared a new C in here, that C overrides the global C. So that's why we get 49. However, if we print A, B, and C after the function, we will get 348 back again. If we want to use the global keyword, or basically make a variable inside of a function global, we would use the global keyword. So let's have a new function, function 2. So if I make a global C, and then set C equal to a different number, like 66, when I print or when I call function 2 and then print C, you'll notice that I get 66. Or sorry, I forgot the print statement. Yeah, you'll notice that I get 66 regardless. Because the global C is now being set to equal to 66. And if you want to, you would also change the global variable inside of a function as well. You would just use the global keyword. So I think that pretty much wraps up everything about variables in Python. Thank you guys for watching this video, and yeah, hope to see you soon.